Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, in a small village, there was a little girl named Little Red Riding Hood. She was a sweet child who loved to spend time with her grandmother, who lived in a cozy cottage in the woods. Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother was a kind lady who often fell ill, and her mother would send her to take food and medicine to her grandmother. One day, Little Red Riding Hood put on her red hooded cloak and started walking towards her grandmother's cottage. As she walked through the woods, she saw a cunning wolf who stopped her and asked where she was going. Little Red Riding Hood, being an innocent child, told the wolf all about her mission. The wolf then told her to take the longer and more dangerous path while he took the shorter one, promising to meet her at her grandmother's cottage. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived at her grandmother's cottage, she found that the wolf had already eaten her grandmother. The wolf, disguised as Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother, was lying in bed wearing her grandmother's nightcap and gown. The wolf then proceeded to try and eat Little Red Riding Hood as well. But luckily, a brave woodsman happened to be passing by the cottage, heard the commotion, and ran inside to save the day. He chased the wolf out of the cottage and rescued Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother. From that day on, Little Red Riding Hood learned never to trust strangers and to always be careful when she was out in the woods. The woodsman explained to Little Red Riding Hood that the wolf was a cunning and dangerous animal who had tricked her into taking the longer path. He also warned her never to talk to strangers and always stay on the safe path. Little Red Riding Hood returned home, and her mother was overjoyed to see her and her grandmother safe and sound. The village lived happily ever after, and Little Red Riding Hood continued to wear her red hooded cloak, but this time, with a newfound sense of caution and awareness. So, my dear child, remember that it's essential to listen to your parents and be careful when you're out in the woods. And if you ever meet a stranger, remember not to talk to them and stay on the safe path.